And then the other thing is, do you think that these, and I'm asking vaguely to like the panel and anyone else who wants to weigh in, but do you think that these will replace these GPTs in the GPT store will replace like the plugins? And also, does anyone still use plugins? Those are my questions.
Yeah, plugins are being deprecated and sort of merged with GBTs. And so I think that we're going to see the plugins be basically turned into GPTs, where the plugins capability is now an action that the GPT is able to perform. I believe I've seen in the documentation and things strong indications that the notion of plugins is going away. Um, I just wanted to share with the group, if you guys have not created a GPT and you're curious on whether you should or how, there's one type of GPT you can make that's really easy that anyone can do, and I call these one shots. Or now I can't think of it. But basically, any prompt that you use quite frequently, you can put into a GPT. And so what you do is you start the GPT by saying something like for the user input, comma, like do this, and then you paste in your prompt. Now you have the ability to run that prompt, like without having to paste the prompt in, and you can just do it as many times as you want. And I imagine that Taylor's GPT that she just made that turns a raw text, unstructured text into JSON is essentially a prompt that you probably, worked on, refined, kind of iterated on, and now the GPT is basically like run this prompt whenever somebody gives you something. Is that right, Taylor?
That is exactly it. Yeah. It was pretty straightforward. I actually used a regular chat GPT chat just to help me like structure the initial kind of conversation a little bit and to gear towards what I wanted it to do. But then, yeah, it was like a couple of hours of conversations back and forth to get it to like behave the right way. There was no external like data that I uploaded. I created all the templates just in the chat. So, yeah, I mean, I'll call it a beta. I made it mostly just for myself, but figured that, might be worth like anyone else checking out and letting me know if it's messed up or weird at all.
Right. So my point here is that you may have looked at monetizing your prompts before and either been intimidated by the options or disappointed by, sites like PromptBase and whether or not you could actually profit from them. But you may have some good prompts that do one thing really well. And there's the potential for somebody to take those prompts and turn them into GPTs that do one thing over and over again for people and to monetize those. And I think that a lot of my GPTs are not going to be the other kind of GPT, which is like acting as a persona with a personality with a whole set of skills. Those kind of GPTs are not as useful, in my opinion, as the ones that kind of do one or two or three, basic things. And sometimes they do it in a series of steps, or they ask a couple of questions before running their prompt or what have you. But that's something that anybody can create and that anybody can drive traffic to. And you just pick one problem that your audience or customer has, create a prompt to solve that problem, and then share it with them and say, hey, if you have this problem, go put your problem in here and it'll solve it. I think that is going to be the first kind of GPT that really takes off, where people, I don't know, people use these a lot. Like with the editing course that I just collaborated on, we now have we now have GPTs that look for specific types of copy edits or developmental edits in your writing and then return back, like you paste in your content and it comes back and says, hey, here's some edits that you can make to improve that content. I think that's a really good use of a GPT. Anybody who wants edits, go throw your content in there. You could use this every single day, if you're a content creator or writer or blogger. um, like those kinds of things I think are the ones that are going to end up winning in the marketplace.
Well, some people they are actually monetizing already, and I was wondering, I'm kind of confused at how do you do that? Do they have some way to put like a commerce something in there? How do they get paid for that? If it's on,
I
if
know
it's public or
I know the Grimoire, the code helper, which that's super popular with like hundreds of thousands of uses, has like a buy me a coffee button or something where it's like all donations. I don't think that you can monetize a GPT in a more straightforward way, um, other than something like that.
I got to remember where I just read it, and I just checked the site. It was saying like so much. Maybe that is what they were doing. I didn't actually try it out, but there was a price per like maybe $5 for 100 uses, and I was just wondering how did that work, you know? But it's a site that it's like a marketplace for GPTs that's out, and I it was in a newsletter that I saw this week, and I'm gonna look for that. Um, it's just interesting because people might get the idea that you can already monetize it